Don't you think that Draymond Green someday
Oh, no doubt.
is going to talk about being a teammate of Andrew Wiggins? Because this is one of the head scratchers of the whole thing. You have, who I believe in the entire NBA is probably the most boisterous teammate anyone could have. The loudest, right?
He's one of the most boisterous players in NBA history.
Right, the most bombastic, intense, and a champion, prideful, all of the things that would lead someone down the road of, dude, we're not taking this crap from Andrew Wiggins. We're not coasting. We're not doing this. I find it hard to believe that Draymond Green hasn't undressed Andrew Wiggins multiple times through the years in a hotel ballroom, a locker room, whatever.
On the bus, on the plane.
If you were that mad.
In a car, on a train.
Look how mad you eventually became at Jordan Poole. And we gather, we don't really know, but we gather that was because of an attitude, trash talk, and sort of wayward on-court behavior, me stuff. Look how upset Draymond became. Got to the point where he's so mad, he committed an unthinkable act. And then to this day, worked himself back around to it being Jordan Poole's fault. Not the hit itself, but the overall picture. All right, if that's how you feel about trash talk and anti-team play, how does a personality like that deal with somebody who is perceived, at least, to not try his best? And did you hear again what Klay Thompson said? We can't get to where we want to go if Andrew Wiggins doesn't play like that. And then when Andrew Wiggins doesn't play like that, I would think that these other veterans translate that to mean, dude, you're literally getting in the way of our own legacy. You're getting in the way of our legacy. I mean, I feel like Draymond Green's the type that would take offense to that.
I would imagine he takes offense constantly, but you realize what Klay said in that soundbite is absolutely true. You can't get to where you want to get unless Andrew Wiggins plays his best. So as a smart basketball player, and Draymond Green's one of the smarter players that I've ever witnessed, and a guy who knows a little bit about coaching. He's been playing basketball at the highest level for darn near 20 years, college and pro. You realize that you need this player to win. So how do you reach Andrew Wiggins? How do you get Andrew Wiggins to be the best version of himself? And, you know, there are certain ways to go about it with every different player. You've coached and, you know, at the youth level, and every kid you coach, you have to coach them a little bit differently. Some are more sensitive. Some can take direct criticism. Others can't. And Andrew Wiggins is a guy who comes across as pretty soft. And so if you really want to get the best out of Andrew, how do you go about doing that? Do you speak to the media? Do you speak to him privately? It seems to me like Steve Kerr has taken the tack of, we're going to just continue to build you up and prop you up and heap love on you, even when you may not deserve it.
They've had his back so many times.
They've never not had his back.
There is the thought that he might have felt like they didn't have his back when the vaccine thing came out.
Right.
That has been expressed. That, in fact, maybe that's why the next two scenarios with Andrew Wiggins, private off-the-court issues, have been handled the way that they have. Because the Warriors do sound like they're walking on eggshells when it comes to anything with Andrew Wiggins. There is one tone, there is one response, and that's it. We love Andrew. We've got Andrew's back. Leave it alone. And we think he's an amazing player. And boy, do we love building up Andrew, who's an amazing player.
At the time, though, with the vaccine, if he didn't get it, he wouldn't be able to play.
Right, but I think that Andrew was, at least according to some whispers I've heard, not thrilled that became such a public discourse. Right? There was time still for Andrew to make a decision,
right,
figure out how he's going to handle it, and in the end, he did handle it in the way that put him on the court. But,
under pressure, and he's spoken to that as well.
And there you go. There you go. Who opened up that pressure?
Right.
Well, because somebody shared it with somebody and it went public.
Yeah.
And that created a bunch of pressure on Andrew.
And Wiggins also was close with Jordan Poole. So when he sees how Jordan Poole gets dealt with, maybe that has spurred him into a feeling of, maybe not being totally bought in to be a Golden State Warriors. I just look at how he plays and what that means for the team. Last night, plus 17. They win. Against Memphis, plus 22. They win. Against the Lakers, plus 7. They win. Against San Antonio, plus 9. They win. All the other games in between those, he's a minus and they lose. So it's not as easy to say when he plays well, they're going to win. But what Klay said is absolutely right. If they want to get to where they're going to go, he's got to play well.
For those of you who are wondering about our references to what Klay said and you haven't heard it, here it is after the Warriors win last night.
That's why we won the championship a couple years ago, is because of Andrew's two-way play. We obviously need him to be that, to go where we want to go. And he's so vital to what we do. Without him, we cannot reach our full potential. So we all love Wiggs. We know what he's capable of. And like you said, his defense is, when he's playing tenacious defense, it's going to fuel his ability to get to the rim, and just his confidence will improve as well.
I am so fascinated by this. Again, it may not sound like much, but in my mind, think about the tactical approach that's going on there by Klay. That, by the way, we've heard a million times before,
right,
but we brush it off. Understand, that's not normal. That is not normal. You think if Brock Purdy had a rough outing and Christian McCaffrey got caught up there in the locker room with microphones, hey, Christian, what do you think? Or maybe a better example, Brock has a great night. Brock beats the Cowboys 42-10 on Sunday Night Football. You think you ever heard Christian McCaffrey go, now that's the Brock we need? Everyone knows we love Brock. We love him so much. And we need him to be that.
Brock's got to play like that to get us where we need to go.
If we're going to go somewhere, Brock's got to be that. It is such a tactical approach. You'd never hear that. No, when Brock had a great game, the 49ers were doing the opposite. They were pleading everybody else to think that he was good.
Right.
They're like, do you understand how awesome that guy is? He's incredible. And how many times did Fred Warner say, he's the reason why we are where we are? Not he's the reason if we get somewhere, right, we need him to be that if we're going to go anywhere. They're like, no, we're here, we're good because of that guy. It sounds like the same thing. It's so different. I hear that and I'm like, Andrew, Klay's pleading with you.
Yeah.
Do you even know that? I got to think he knows that.
I mean, you would imagine that he knows that. He's been in the association long enough to understand. I'm looking at the 11 games, Mark, since he came back from his last absence. And when Andrew is a negative in the plus minus 6 times, they're 1-5 in those games. The one win was a 35-point win over Milwaukee. He was a -5. Who cares? He won the game anyway. He played 13 minutes. And the other games that he's a positive, they are 4-1. So it's just as simple as when he plays well, when he's engaged and aggressive, they win more often than they lose. And it's not to say that he's the most important player, but he kind of is.
Well,
Steph is going to Steph. Draymond's going to do what he does.
They feel like he doesn't know that, or else they wouldn't say that, or they feel like it hasn't registered, because if it had registered the way other professional athletes are wired, these 3 champions and more, Looney's a champion, the way these guys are wired, cruising around the building, they're like, if I knew that I had the key to this entire team, I would be running through fire hoops every day. And they're like, Andrew does it sometimes.
Right.
He does it on Tuesdays. But then on Thursdays, he'll come out and it's Lollygag City. And so we got to tell him again. Everybody knows we love him. So we're going to qualify it first. We all love him. Everybody knows that being on both sides of the ball and playing with intensity, Steve Kerr said it to us the last time he spoke with us. I really want Andrew to be more aggressive. I want him to feel the need to be more aggressive. I'm just sitting here listening to this going, holy cow.
Right.
Y'all must be like just leaving this interview and sticking a fork in your ear. How many times you've had to say this and it hadn't sunk in yet?
Well, I don't know if it is ever going to sink in, because it strikes me that Andrew is a player that doesn't have that desire to win that the other guys do. Because if you did, you would look at the evidence of when you play well and you would see, whoa, when I play well, it leads to victory. Last year, Mark, he was a positive in the plus minus 21 times. What do you think their record was in those 21 games?
Last season?
Last season.
Oh, God, 21 times?
He only played 37 games in the regular year.
Right.
21 of those, he was a positive. What was their record in those 21 games?
I'm going to go 18-3.
17-4.
Yep, that was good.
You're damn good.
Damn, that was going to be my... I'm like, it's either 18 or 17.
And 4.
There you go.
And again, it's a little bit of a small sample, and I could go to the previous year, the championship year, and he played, I think, all 82 that year, and I would bet you that the winning percentage is around 700.
Yeah, there's a little chicken or the egg here. It's like when you win, there's more chance that you're going to be a positive plus minus.
Right.
But when it gets to a larger sample, you have a point.
And when you have, when you play well and when you have a better plus minus and you are a key contributor to the team, you're more likely to win games. The year before, he was a plus 45 times of the 73. So, and that was the championship year.